you do that.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Committee of the Whole for Borough Council for September 6, 2023. Would you rise for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge to the flag? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Infrastructure. Counselor, anything to add? No. Anyone from transportation?
No meeting, but I believe should be meeting on Monday.
Okay. And efficient methods.
Last month, we reviewed the website, compared it to the mobile site. We saw minor differences only because of the size of the screen and memory issues, basically. The functionality was essentially the same. We asked Doug for the trash reports to compare to last year to see how year over year we're doing.
Mhm.
And that would be, we also asked for the service calls data too, so we could see and track year over year what our calls are and how bad we're doing.
Very good. Ordinance review, Counselor Proskal. Meeting, economic development. Ms. Lee Clerk.
Evening, councilors, Madam Mayor. Tri-County Health Plan opens its September 15th. That's out off of Shoemaker Road in the Tri-County Business Complex. It looks like mid-October for the alley inside and Gaza Steaks. And Councilor Lindsay, if all goes well, the beginning of November for Panera. I knew you'd be upset. I knew you'd be excited.
And let me know, are we having the ribbon cutting ceremony? Let me know.
Okay, I'm not in charge of ribbon cutting. FET is over 60% of people that are attending are from outside the borough of Pottstown. So that is yet another wonderful way to really look at, have the borough seen by others in such a wonderful light. And so we're all hoping everybody go home and do your no rain dance. We're watching the weather closely. It's a rain or shine event, and we really hope we don't get those thunderstorms. And speaking of great community events, I believe Mr. Ward probably is here to speak. Nothing?
Anything? So how did we do?
The feedback has been phenomenal. If you don't know, I'm Jamie Orr. I hosted the Volkswagen event, or Audi Porsche Volkswagen event on Sunday. Every restaurant that I've talked to said they had their busiest weekend ever. 0 reports, so I feel like I'm breathing easier now. I always say it's not over until everyone's home safe. The comments from the internet beforehand were relatively downbeat from inside the town and out of, why don't you go to nicer towns? It's not safe there. Practically accusing me of putting people in danger of coming downtown, which was incredibly downheartening. And I screenshotted a whole lot of them, and we discussed some, etc., some of the local developers, etc. And during and afterwards, just the complete opposite. How great the town looked, how wonderful. There was a wedding at 10:45 in Smith Family Plaza because they came last year, thought the town was so beautiful. They asked to get married during the show. Just could not have had a more positive response. Families, kids, people that could not care about cars, but just said it felt like a festival, and how could they not come? I've had neighbors that I've never met before, said hello to in passing, stop me and say, thank you so much. My family came last year on a whim, couldn't wait for it this year, and we all had a great time. 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 9-year-old, or something along those lines. Everybody loved it. Again, couldn't care about cars, just loved the festive atmosphere. All the food trucks, the local food trucks down near Manatoni, had a great day, I believe. which actually I did sign in to say thank you, to give credit where credit is due. Thank you to everyone in the borough. Public Works, my team collected as much trash. We put out extra trash cans, and we cleaned up a lot on Sunday evening until we were exhausted after starting at 3 a.m. Left it at a point, went back during business hours on Monday morning, and it was gone. So I didn't expect that. Apparently it was on their schedule. I wasn't aware of it, but that was above and beyond. And even to the people who are leaving polite comments saying, oh yeah, it was hard to find a parking spot where I live that weekend, are not doing so vehemently or ultra negatively. And so I want to thank them for their patience and understanding. It's something that Phoenixville does practically every week. And so I know it's unusual here, but I appreciate it. If there was any inconvenience, I apologize, but at the same time, I appreciate it. So,
Great.
Metrics, I don't have any. It's a free event. We have free admittance. So, attendance for car shows was up 45%, 40%. More vendors, more food trucks, everything. I'm taking about too much of your time, but thank you. I really appreciate every single person, whether they were active or just a member of the local borough living here and had some extra traffic to put up with, because I really hope and think it was worth it for the businesses and for our perceived happiness. Or I'm going to stop talking. I'm still tired.
And I can expect you back next year?
We'll see. I'm not going anywhere else. If it's not here, it's not happening. But I'm going to sleep a little, and I'm sure we will all debrief. I did speak to the police department and got a glowing review, but I just want to make sure that everyone is safe and content.
Right.
Before I put anything out there.
Wonderful.
So, but again, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Land Bank, Ms. Lee Clark.
I'm back. That's a hard act to follow.
Tell me about it.
It was really great. All right, so Land Bank, I want to be clear because there seems to be some misconception. Paige is the administrator of the Land Bank. There are Land Bank members that do the voting. So we are the communication channel. So people that need information, but the voting comes through the Land Bank itself, and they are the decision-making body. So I want to be really clear about that. I know there's some confusion out there about it. And no, I do not live in the borough. We do have one property that is out there right now that has been advertised. We had an open house for it. The land bank is 122 Beach Street. We are accepting applications and development plans that are due by September 15th for consideration of the land bank at the land bank meeting in September.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Emergency Services, Chief Hand here. Nothing to add?
He's out in an emergency right now.
Okay. Human Relations, Ms. Levingood.
Good evening, councilors, council president, Madam Mayor. National Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th. This is the time to celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of Hispanic Americans, specifically those whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. In Pottstown, CCLU will be holding its annual Latin Festival on Saturday, September the 23rd, from 12 noon to 5 p.m. at Riverfront Park. We encourage the public to attend this free event. The two most important days of the Jewish faith are Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah, which celebrates the Jewish New Year, begins at sundown on Friday, September the 15th, and ends at sundown on Sunday, September the 17th. And Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, starts at sundown, September the 24th, and ends at nightfall on Monday, the 25th. Okay? The Commission's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, September the 12th at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers. And I also want to note that our October meeting will be held on Tuesday, October the 3rd, at 6 p.m. in council chambers. All are welcome to attend. We're actually having our meeting a week early because council is going to be meeting the second Tuesday of the month. So just want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Okay. Library, is Mindy there?
She wasn't able to make it tonight. The
Okay.
report's in the packet.
We have our, all right. And Ricketts Center, anything to add, Counselor Kirkland?
I am Council Kirkland. Back up, can you hear me? Sorry. So we did have a board meeting today, and there's two things. I was waiting on Jocelyn to send us a copy of the description because they need a director. So I can send it to you guys later. And also, there was a little vandalism at the Ricketts Center with the fence. So, parents, try to keep your kids, or just let them know that they're not supposed to be, I don't know if you, let me tell you kids, put them to the TV. Stop tearing up stuff. Leave them fences alone, because what's gonna happen is they giveth and they taketh away. So stop. Stop. Okay, that's it. Okay, you can go back and play your Nintendo now. Okay, so I'm done with that. I'm done with the Ricketts Center.
Okay. And while we have you, how about the school district?
Okay, so the school district, I'm not sure if you guys heard this or not, but the bus company that provide transportation to the schools, you probably heard about this and everything. Okay, so they unexpectedly just stopped. So the kids, so when the kids go to school, they're looking for the bus. The bus was there, but it wasn't their bus. They tried to get on the bus. People said, get off the bus. You can't, this is not your bus. The school board and Stephen, our superintendent, everybody just found this out at the same time with the parents. Stephen had an emergency town hall meeting to try to get concerns and brainstorm solutions. And then, as a result, he talked to the transportation company and community organizations, and he established additional transportation for the students, and for the students who ride the fare-paying bus, but they must sign a 3-strike and they off contract. So the 3-strike and they off contract is like if they get on the bus and they cuss the bus driver out or something like that. That's 1 strike. Or they hit somebody on the bus. That's 2 strike. Or they pop in their gum and spit it on the ground or put trash on the bus. That's 3 strikes and they out. Now they don't have transportation. Okay, so that's one of the things. Oh, and also the school district, Pottstown School District is hiring. So go on their website, check it out. There may be some opportunities for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Solicitor, Mr. Garner, anything to discuss?
Everyone, how's everyone doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me okay tonight?
You're a little low.
Yep.
Little low?
Little low.
We'll turn it up a little bit, see if that helps. I'm always interested if council.
Oh,
But tonight I thought we just a little bit about the
there
differences
you go.
between.
Sorry,
Can you
Chuck.
hear me?
Yes.
Now
Oh,
we
yes.
can,
That's what
something was changed on our end.
Okay, all right. So what I said was always welcome for council if they have any suggestions of what we can talk about. But tonight I thought we just talk briefly, a refresher course about our agendas on Monday night and how council takes action through motions, through resolutions, and through ordinances, and just talk a little bit about the differences and why they're different forms of action for council to take. Predominantly, council acts through motions, which are obviously simply verbal and get recorded in the minutes as such. They're the easiest type of action to take, and it doesn't require the preparation of any documents for council's approval. Resolutions are a written document, as you know, and it is the second step as far as council action. Resolutions are typically used to be more formalistic, and sometimes statutorily, there's a reason for a resolution. For example, the borough code requires that if council appoints a new councilor because of a vacancy, that action is required through a resolution of the governing body. When you appoint a member to the zoning hearing board, the municipality's planning code requires that that action take place through a resolution as opposed to a simple motion. Many times, if you apply for grant funds or you submit a grant application, the entity that's supplying the grant will ask for a council resolution to authorize the application to be submitted, something more than just a motion of council to authorize it. Coming up on Monday night's agenda, proposed is a fee resolution. And the reason we set our fees by resolution is many years ago, when council established its fee schedule, they did so through resolution. And obviously, that's a very comprehensive document. And so when you want to change your fees, you're required to use the same vehicle to change something as you did when you enacted it. So if you approve changes to your fees in the future, and always, you'll be doing it through a resolution. The final action, which is probably the most significant or authoritative action council can take, is the adoption of an ordinance. And obviously, you guys know what ordinances are. When you establish rules for the borough, when you make regulations, you're required to do that through an ordinance. And the ordinance implies that there will be some type of publication of what will occur, an advertisement, notice being posted in Borough Hall or on the website. Sometimes certain statutes require letters to be sent, such as to the Montgomery County Law Library or the local or county planning commissions if you're going to adopt certain ordinances. So ordinances obviously are the most complicated. They are the most intricate as far as how you do that. Various laws require advertising requirements. If you adopt or establish traffic rules or property maintenance codes, that's all through ordinance, an advertised document that you would then vote on and approve. If you amend your zoning or subdivision ordinance, you not only have to have the ordinance, but you have to have a public hearing. That's required by the planning code. So there's reasons why we do things differently for each of the items. Each is a little more formal than the other. And obviously, the most powerful is the ordinance, which again can only be changed through a subsequent ordinance. So that's why you'll see on your agenda for Monday night, at times, a motion to enact a resolution, a motion to adopt an ordinance, or just a simple motion. Not the most exciting topic. I'm happy to answer any questions, and certainly if you have topics for future sessions, please let me know. I'm happy to try to help out on anything you have questions about.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions?
No, I appreciate the explanations.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Garner.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Dan.
Mayor Hendrick, your report.
Thank you, President Wind. So a resident who wishes to remain anonymous requested that we create a program to recognize the dedicated servants of Pottstown. And this person nominated an individual for her exceptional leadership. And when I saw the name, there was no question in my mind that this individual is well deserving of this award. And so I would ask if Tamara Charles could come up and be recognized.
Ooh.
And this is a complete surprise to Tamara. I told her I needed her here to support me, and I need her friendly face, proud, and I've talked to your son many times, wanted to present you, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks. We wanted to present you with the Pottstown Community Service Award, honoring Tamara Charles for her dedicated service to the borough of Pottstown. We are privileged and honored to present the Pottstown Community Service Award to Tamara Charles, resident and community volunteer. Whereas Tamara Charles was born and raised in Pottstown, and whereas she joined the National Guard at the age of 18 and served for 18 years, including a tour in Iraq, and whereas Tamara was also a member of the Skippack Police Department and served as an overnight dispatcher for 10 years while raising her 3 children, Khalid, Kiara, and Kirsten. And now Tamara works at Veterans Hospital. Whereas Tamara has provided dedicated and exemplary service to community organizations, including Pottstown Community Action, Love Your Block, Habitat for Humanity, and the Family Advisory Council, diligently, without complaint or negativity, always with a smile on her face and a passionate drive to improve her community. And whereas Tamara serves this community without agenda or want of recognition and is the epitome of service above self, she is a true leader by example. Tamara Charles is therefore cheered and applauded by the residents and proud citizens of the borough of Pottstown for being an honorable, caring, and devoted servant to this community. Thank you. And this is proof in the pudding. She was out there this weekend, turned around, she was at the cleanup, she was behind me, she was at everything. This woman is at everything and is the reason I love living here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
Yeah, go ahead. Please.
It's an honor. I want to thank the person who nominated me, and it's an honor because I'm in the company of so many people that are just out there volunteering their time, asking for nothing in return. A lot of people in this room, and so I'd like to take this opportunity to just tell the community, get out there and get involved, get in where you can fit in, and just show up to everything, and then you'll find something you enjoy and be around the people you want to be around.
Period.
Her son said he didn't know how she did it, and she never stops or sleeps. So, thank you.
You can leave it on.
You want me to? I see. That, they did that in May. There you go. No? Okay, there. You did good.
Sorry.
Nice surprise. Is there more?
Yes, there is a little more. Let me highlight the awesomeness of August for everyone. I want to thank Lieutenant Morrissey, Rasul Stinton, Sweat Chasers, Kathleen Devaney, who's the new head of students at the Hill School, Ron Reichel, who, as many of you know, is our resident butterfly man who has an amazing pollinator garden, and Jamie Orr. All of you have brought the magic and the positivity back to Pottstown that I feel has been a little lacking in the past few months. And I am grateful and honored to live in this borough. I went to the car show on Saturday and Sunday, and I was speechless on Sunday because I couldn't believe that it was bigger than it was on Saturday. And I stood in the middle of the intersection, and I just spun around and looked in every direction, And I could not believe that I was lucky enough to live in this town. I mean, the amount of people, and it was god awful hot. Oh my goodness. And every business, restaurant, everything was packed. And everyone was having a great time. And they came back for more. And so it was nice to see like what, and be reminded about what this is all about and why we started this in the first place. Lieutenant Morrissey gave a wonderful presentation to the senior center about education on elder fraud and how to prevent it. We got a large amount of thank yous and gratitude. It is a big problem in our community, not just with elderly community, but so I am grateful that he was able to share with those individuals. And I think what was extremely eye-opening by his presentation was the clips of the perpetrators using AI to mimic someone else's voice, a loved one's voice, which is then used to scam family members into saying that they have kidnapped this loved one and they need a ransom. And unfortunately, I have had clients who have lost money to this. It's been, you wouldn't think that it was possible, but it is amazing how good AI is now. So please be careful. And if you are unsure, hang up and call back the number you know. Rasul Stinton and Sweat Chasers put together like a block cleanup, which was the most well-attended block cleanup I have been to in Pottstown. 24 little kids and 8 adults showed up. He texted me the morning of. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll come. I didn't know what we were doing. He contacted Hobart's Run. He got supplies. Those kids, he had us working. We were on High Street, Chestnut, Walnut, King, Franklin. And, you know, the kids were hot. It was sweaty. We need smaller gloves. The plastic gloves, when you sweat, fall off. So we had a lot of issues with gloves. But, you know, when you have 24 kids in the community who are looking around, looking it up at the adults saying, we don't want to pick this up. Why are you guys putting this stuff here? We're telling our friends, stop littering. I'm like, good, keep doing that. So these kids get it. I'm just grateful they all showed up. It was great, and they're going to work on holding themselves and others accountable. If you haven't met the new head of students at the Hill School, Kathleen Devaney, what a breath of fresh air. Her education and experience and community service were impeccable, of course, but what stood out to me was her positivity and her giddiness about moving to Pottstown and partnering with the community. And so, again, she was a much-needed reminder this month of how awesome our borough is. Again, Jamie, well done. Like, the pop-ups, I talked to those people. The closest person was from like Virginia, and they came from Denver and California and Germany and all over the place. And the way that they were able to, I didn't even know this was possible, to create a pop-up store to showcase what these buildings could be used for was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Still speechless. And I just appreciate Paid and all the partners who like keep running this borough and bringing everyone to this town. So, quick schedule. Pet Fair is.
Michael? Yeah,
Sorry.
There is 9 from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And then on Sunday, Oh, well, FET is Friday, if you haven't gotten tickets, sorry. Um, Sunday, the 10th, is the Soapbox Derby from 11 to 6, starting on Wilson and North State Street, going towards Farmington. September 16th is Ride for the River, 9 a.m. If you haven't registered, please do so. I signed up for the 4-mile family fun, hopefully I won't kill myself ride. And it starts at 9, and then afterwards, Can Jam Music Festival is later that day at Sly Fox from 12 to 5. The 23rd, 9 to 11, Edgewood Cemetery Tombstone Cleanup for students and I guess everyone who would like to participate. Also on the 23rd, 11 to 4 is the Pottstown Veterans Community Day at the Island. Also on the 23rd at 12, Riverfront Park, Latin Festival. And if you missed the elder fraud presentation and workshop and are interested, we're doing another one on the 26th of September at 10 a.m. at the Senior Center. So please contact them if you're interested to sign up. And thanks, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. And from our manager, Keller.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. So I've got quite a few updates for you tonight. It's been a busy summer. We've got a lot accomplished and we got a lot of things in the works. So one thing I just want to let you all know that we've been informed by the Rotary that they're forgoing the Halloween parade this year to focus their efforts on the July 4th parade. So they are planning, in lieu of the Halloween parade, a trunk or treat. So as soon as we get details on that, we'll be sure to pass those along. Airport, some of the infrastructure is in the process of being upgraded at the airport. We did finally get in service the self-service fuel pumps. So they're installed now in operation. We also painted the beacon light that is up there. And then also we received word in our most recent airport planning session, and the Bureau of Aviation funding can be allocated for taxiway paving for the next fiscal year. So moving things forward there. An update on the assistant manager search. We're currently in the process of conducting pre-screening interviews and also scheduling interviews with the selection committee later this month. Pottstown Metropolitan Regional Planning Committee, as a part of their annual work plan, they're proposing a station area transit-oriented development study for fiscal year 25 work program as a strategic planning initiative to try to take advantage of the future rail service that we expect to have in the area. So that'll allow us to dive into some of the design and conceptual aspects to address the development, parking, transportation, and those needs around the future train station, possibly even incorporating in some considerations from our regional partners as well. On that similar note, the Schuylkill River Passenger Rail Authority, they've been busy as well. They're holding their October meeting in person in Pottstown at 3 p.m. on October 23rd as a part of an effort to bring the members to each of the future rail station locations. The meeting, as I understand it, will be followed by a walk of the train station area with the group so that they can get a better understanding of the layout and some of the needs that we might have here in Pottstown. Next month, we'll be presenting the first draft of the 2024 budget to council. So staff is in the process of entering that budget now and holding meetings with directors to try to determine what we have in the budget and where we stand for the upcoming year. A couple items with the veterans and the war memorials. One thing that we want to note is the Korean War Memorial mural. As some may know, the Veterans Island Project, they recently completed this mural, and all are invited to attend the official unveiling at Veterans Community Day on September 23rd, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's located in Veterans Island in Memorial Park. Also, on the subject of veterans banners, we've been in ongoing discussions for the installation of Pottstown Hero veterans banners on High Street, and due to the preferences for a larger banner size in this location. It's led to a higher than expected cost for banners than the group was originally anticipating. So in an effort to try to reach a solution and ease the cost for the families of the veterans who would ultimately pay for these banners, we propose that the borough cover the additional change in costs associated with the larger banner size and incorporate that into our 2024 budget. We ran this proposal by the Veterans Group, in which it was warmly received, and they're going to get back to us with updated numbers to show the difference in cost between their original size banner and the larger size banner so that council can take it under consideration in the budget for next year. And then lastly, the Veterans Island Project, they've been very busy. They've established a committee for this project, and you'll see later on, we're asking for an appointment of a borough staff member to the committee for the Modern Conflict Memorial that they're planning on doing in Veterans Island. So this would be a modern conflict memorial for the recent engagements in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Gulf Wars. And the committee, which is mostly comprised of veterans and individuals who served during these eras, are also requesting permission to oversee the design, fundraising, and installation of the memorial in Memorial Park on Veterans Island. And that completes my report. Happy
Very
to
good.
answer any questions.
Any questions?
For the train, October 23rd, was there a time or no? Did they have a time? I don't think you said time.
3 p.m.
Oh, 3 p.m., okay.
Yep. And I think we should be sending out an invite to all the elected officials as well, if we haven't yet.
Okay.
Justin, if I may, does this mean that we're not having a Halloween parade at all?
That's my understanding, yeah.
But it's my birthday.
Yeah. Well, you're on the Rotary, right?
I am on the Rotary,
Talk to
but
them about it.
Have that
apparently
conversation.
it's coming out of people's pockets for quite some time, so it's not sustainable.
We'll plan something.
Okay,
But they are planning a trunk or treat.
Thanks.
okay, yeah, and I know there's a lot of other organizations that are doing that as well. so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we need a resolution for the police pension.
All right, so the next two items are associated with the borough's responsibility to pay the minimum municipal obligation towards our two uniform and non-uniform pension funds. And for the police, the 2024 MMO is $1,784,485, which represents an increase of $53,808 from 2023. And then also for the non-uniform, the 2024 MMO is $920,285, or an additional $6,512 for 2024.
Okay. We'll add that for Monday. Number 12, another resolution. This is for a fee schedule amendment. Mr. Garner.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think you have a copy of the proposed resolution in your packet.
We do.
I would point out that under sections 1 and 2, there is no ostensible increase in any of those fees. You'll see that they relate primarily to multi-unit buildings. And the reason we are changing some of the language is to make it more fair and equitable, so that if you have multi-unit buildings, you're paying a proportionate and fair share as opposed to more than you should. I think according to Mr. Place, we discovered that in some cases, if you had 6 units under the prior wording, you may wind up paying $10 more for your application than if you had 7 units. So sections 1 and 2 are primarily wording changes to make sure that everything is fair and equitable. Section 3, however, is the creation of a new fee. It was pointed out that many property owners come into L&I and really don't know what they're supposed to do or don't have information about their properties. And they're asking the staff to kind of research and do help them fill out applications that are readily available. So again, this was taking a lot of staff time, So L&I has proposed a new fee for licensing and inspection research requests, and it's a really reasonable fee, but many times property owners that own multiple properties aren't really doing their homework. So that's really the basis for the fee resolution that you'll be looking at for Monday night. And if you have questions, I'm sure Mr. Place or Ms. Stokes can answer them, but that's the basis of what the resolution is doing.
Very good. So we'll list that for Monday. And 13, Pottstown School District. This is for the Edgewood School Playground waiver.
That's correct, Dan. You should have a copy of a letter from the engineer. If you recall, council had already granted a waiver of the formal land development process for this project. Again, it's a simple playground addition onto a developed property. The letter that is in front of you essentially asks for 4 waivers from the Saldo ordinance. The requirement to show topography within 100 feet of site, the requirement to perform a phase 1 environmental assessment. They're looking at some waivers for tree requirements, and I think they're very minor, and also a requirement for a fence or a landscape buffer between the property and a residential property. Again, this already exists. It's not new construction. No one sees any issues with these waivers. I believe the engineer for the district may be online or available if you have questions, but if you're inclined, this would be listed for Monday night to consider those waivers.
Very good. Any questions? We'll list that for Monday. 14, this is a zoning request for, this is Heather Kingsley.
Yes, council, there's actually three zoning applications that are on your agenda for you to review and decide if you want to take any position. The first is for 218 High Street. In this case, based on the application, the applicant is requesting permission to open what is defined by our ordinance as a personal care business B. And that would include tattooing, body piercing, and a sale of art and jewelry. That use is not a permitted use in the downtown district, and the applicant is seeking a variance to permit that use at 218 High Street. I am advised that the applicants are present at the meeting tonight, and if council has any questions about the operation or the business, you certainly could ask. As always, council can simply allow the application to be heard by the zoning hearing board and stay neutral. Borough Council can take action in support of an application or action opposing an application. So those are obviously always your 3 options. And I have nothing more to say about this application unless there's questions.
Councilors have a question? All right, well,
This,
put that
on this, Joe, the application, this is for the, to allow a tattoo parlor, correct?
personal.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's
And
and sale of art. Yes.
okay. Yeah. I usually don't, I don't weigh in on zoning issues because I believe the zoning hearing board is well-versed in whether or not they want to do something, but we are involved in legislation and ordinances. And I think that a prohibition or treating a tattoo parlor as something unworldly or unnice, or that there's Hell's Angels going to come in, is clearly not reflective of 2023. Many people have tattoos, okay? My children have tattoos. Many of the people in here probably have tattoos, okay? It is not what a tattoo parlor once was. So I believe that the ordinance should be modified to get rid of this prohibition to a very commonplace, everyday activity, which is tattoos. My friend here's got gauges. Look what he just did, okay? I think it's time to change that and get rid of that.
He had approved one.
Yeah.
They backed out.
We did.
We have 3 in the borough? Piercing and tattoo place?
Probably.
Not downtown.
Not on High Street.
No, we had talked about one several months ago, but
And it was
they
supposed to go on
chose
High
not
Street.
to
Yeah, and they,
do it. So I don't think many of us have a problem with
it
it.
was on York
I think
Street.
it's mainstream.
I was
Because
just,
my father has them.
Oh, well, in that case.
Well, I mean,
I don't have any tattoos.
Right,
I don't either, but
I
my
was-
attention span's not that long.
okay, so we'll list it for Monday?
it's in my ward, I was just gonna let it go on the zoning. I'd just be mindful of our sign ordinances and the dimensions of them and the lights and things like that, so.
That would be your ward.
Mhm.
Okay. We'll do that.
Oh, I do have one question. You do like the permanent eyebrows and things like that as well? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Kingsley, and it is such a pleasure to be in front of you guys and explain a little bit more about what I plan to do with myself. I have my master's in micropigmentology, ma'am, and I work with cancer patients, alopecia patients, scar victims, camouflage victims. I have been doing this for over 20 years, tattooing, body piercing. I'm a certified nurse. I also own an infectious waste removal company nationwide, and I'm very involved in my community and making sure that my business is accountable for how the needles and medical waste, my apologies, I am a little nervous, but how the needles and disposable waste is actually disposed of properly. And so I'm very involved with my community in that way nationwide, and I'm very, very proud to be that way.
Thank you. I think some of the things you do are wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do work with Mainline Plastic Surgery Center. So Dr. Jean he sends his patients to me. I do not even have to go to them. They send them to me. So I'm very, very thankful. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I just wanted a little more detail about what you did. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. And we'll add that for Monday. Okay, Shoemaker Road.
Yes, so this next zoning relief request is based upon a relatively new subdivision land development plan that's been submitted to the borough, is in front of the Planning Commission right now. It proposes to consolidate 3 lots on Shoemaker Road to construct a self-storage facility, multi-floor. The zoning relief they're requesting is a reduction in the required parking. I believe based on our ordinance, 28 spaces are required. I believe they're only providing 10, and they're seeking a reduction of the required parking. That's all I know about it. I don't know if any applicants are present. My take is that if they're doing this business and creating this large building, they've done marketing studies to know how many parking spaces they need. I would think they wouldn't want to under construct parking if they felt they needed sufficient parking for their customers when customers access the facility. But again, that's kind of my editorial on it. So obviously all the parking would be on site. There'd be a parking lot, but they're looking for a reduction in spaces. So that's going to the zoning hearing board, and I think the hearing's scheduled for the end of September.
Okay. Any questions? We'll list that for Monday. And 16 is for 799 State Street.
Yes, this property is part of the former Pottstown Center, where the giant supermarket used to be. The applicant is wanting to lease one of the smaller units that are up there. They want a smoke shop, tobacco store to be put in the center. The smoke shop, tobacco store is a use permitted by special exception. It's not a by right use, but if you recall, special exception means that if they can satisfy the ordinance criteria of what is required, the zoning hearing board has to grant that relief. So you contemplate by your ordinance that this would be a use that would be appropriate in this district, which is an HB district. So again, it's just a special exception, not a variance. And I don't know anything more about it, but that was the information we received from the application. I believe that hearing is also scheduled for the end of September.
Okay, any questions? Don, is this your award? Yeah. Okay, we'll list that for Monday. 17 is the fuel bid awards. Did they come in?
We got no bidders for the fuel bids.
Okay. You want to explain what we do now?
Yeah, so under the municipal code, if we go out to bid twice with the identical requirements and we receive no bidders, we're allowed to contract with a vendor of our choice. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it allows us more flexibility to pick the vendor that has the lowest price rather than getting locked in long-term with a single bidder.
Okay. And Mr. Garner, do we have to approve that Monday?
There would be a motion just to reject all bids.
Okay. All right, we'll do that Monday.
He does too.
We like your coach. Okay, number 18 is Cheesetoberfest.
Yes, it's back October 21st from 12 to 3. They are requesting a beer garden because you can't have cheese without beer.
That's right. No questions, we'll add that for approval. And now we're at upcoming board vacancies. So we're seeking some volunteers to come forward. First is for the Blighted Property Review Committee. There's one vacant term to expire December 31, 2023. There'll be no action on this till October. Next is Environmental Advisory Council, 1 3-year term to expire August 10th. We have one person requesting to join that. That's Miles Feather. Land Bank Board, 1 vacant term to expire April 9, 2021. We have 1 applicant, that's Eva Porter, and this will take action in October. Zoning Hearing Board, there's a vacant term to expire January 1, 2024. We have 3 applicants, Todd Thorne, Rich Buller, and Deb Penrod. He is the Zoning Hearing Board, possible alternate position to expire January 1, 2024. And we'll act on those Monday evening. And F is the the Conflicts Memorial. And to that, I'd like to appoint Michael Lenhart as our borough representative, and I'll ask for your support for Monday evening. And it's at this time we listen to the citizens who would like to comment tonight.
All right, so just a reminder, everyone will have 3 minutes to speak, and we may follow up with you after the meeting.
We have any callers?
No.
No, okay.
First up is Jamie Sanchez, 200 Maplewood.
Hi, everybody. As the Rotarian chair for the Halloween parade, it was not an easy decision for us not to do that this year. Also, as a board member for Veterans Island, I appreciate the support that the borough is giving us to do more things on the island. We understand that the borough owns the property, but it's allowing us to do what we need to do to bring out some history in our town. Now to the bad part. Thank you to Mr. Monastra and Chief for answering some emails that I have gone back and forth with in regards to Tent City and the unhoused. I don't know if we have a plan for the unhoused. I do know that as far as High Street, there are more of them. I don't know if organizations such as Beacon of Hope, Better Days Ahead, are doing anything to help. I've gone by the library quite a few times, and there's a lot of them sitting there. My understanding is that there's no recourse. I know it's not a crime to be homeless, because I at one time was homeless. So I get it. But we need to help them somehow. Putting our heads in the sand and ignoring it is not going to make it go away. My friends, a lot of my friends ride on the Schuylkill River Trail. I will not because of the homeless. My girlfriend was riding the other day and somebody came out running, screaming her head off. So I don't know what the answer is, but I would like collectively to come up with a solution. I know that it has been said that, what's our solution as a resident? The solution is for you, as the elected officials, to come up with. I have no problem sitting on a board to come up with solutions, but we need to act on them. And could somebody tell me how I find out an update for the Montgomery County Task Force? How would I go? Because I haven't seen an update on anything that they've been doing to try to help Pottstown. That's it.
We'll get back to her.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Heather Kingsley, 13 Beechwood Ave, Malvern, PA. Oh, that's you, right. Gotcha. And Jamie Orr, do you want to speak again, or are you good?
Yes, please. Yes, Jamie.
Sure.
Yes.
Just say 3 good things for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to come up earlier. So I'll cut this short. Very briefly, proper thank yous, apart from Payne, Burr, and everyone I already thanked. The Pottsgrove Marching Band came out and led a procession of our international guests and some of the museum cars that were shipped in from Europe, and they did an amazing job. They have a new band director who has been with them since COVID, and they haven't had a chance to stretch their legs publicly, and they were phenomenal. And even, I didn't think I'd be more blown away, but the 2 soloists, duettists, that sang the national anthem was incredible. Just absolutely moving. They had no backing track, and when the vocalist starts low, they got it right. But they were incredible. I did actually prepare this a little bit. The pop-up stores, 218 was one of them. I have to thank their property owners. That's been in the works for a while, and they actually delayed that contract for us to go above and beyond. Jerry, the former Lastic Building, and Steve, the owner, and Red Horse, also properties downtown that we used as well. I would love nothing more than to have no stores available for us. We have a plan. We know what will happen if that happens. But please, again, everyone is filling them and working on doing that. I would love to see that more. Yeah, it would be a great problem to have. On the homeless issue, it was brought up before because we did have the parking provided to us by the college, and I was working down there late one evening, and it is expanding. One of the suggestions to me was that it was perhaps something I should look to have cleared out or something beforehand, and I said, no, that's the opposite of what I'd like to do. I'd like them to not have to be there, but I'm not going to ever be the person that says we should take someone's tent away if that's the only thing they have. And I don't mean to politicize anything, but that was not something that I would like to have seen done, but I would love to see them not there. I have no suggestion. We're not the only town, city in this state, country, world that has these problems. I don't think anyone has a solution, but I would love, if it's possible, reactive, then great. The other thing I wanted to very briefly say thanks to is the wonderful people at our 501c3 at the Steel River Playhouse. They did pull together a very quick fundraiser that we invented about a week ago, and it looks like we raised about $8,000 at the event on Sunday for them. Much more than I expected. I didn't think we were doing it, and we managed to do that. So less than I would hope for, but much more than we had expected. So again, just thank you to so many people, but those are specifically, especially the high school students, I want to say thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Doug Slick, 474 Evans Street.
Good evening, everyone. I have a very quick but positive story to tell. You're on board already.
I love positivity.
So taking out my recycling, and I'm noticing that the lid is cracked. And then it cracks a little more over the next several weeks. And then one day they collect my recycling and the cracked portion completely comes off. And so now I have a big hole in my recycling container. So I'm saying, great, I'm gonna have to call Borough Hall, gonna go through a big rigmarole, there's gonna be a phone message that I have to go through. I'm gonna have to call multiple times, I'm gonna have to email, they're not gonna listen to me, I'm gonna have to pay a lot of money. And I sat down with my coffee and some deep breathing, said I'm gonna make the first phone call and see what happens. And so the phone was answered in 2 rings. Very pleasant gentleman, listened to everything I was saying, asked a couple questions about where I store my trash can and where my address is, and he says, okay, we'll be out to fix that for you. And I'm like totally confused at this point because there was no phone menu, there was nothing for me to punch on, nothing for me to get angry about. And the phone call was apparently over before I had really even, got going. So I said, okay, and I hung up, and 2 days later, taking out my recycling, and was a brand new lid on my recycling container. I can't think of any experience I've had recently with any customer service, government, my doctor, the drugstore, any government agency that has been that smooth. Now, I know it was a small thing, but it was some awesome customer experience. So let's go home with a positive thought. I think I'm the last.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you from a customer service representative for 20 years. Thank you.
Yes.
And that concludes
Oh.
public comment.
Wow. Okay. Counselors. Counselor Lebedinsky, anything?
Yeah, I work in Reading, and surprisingly, as much as they bash Pottstown,
Who's
like they
they?
get a lot.
Yeah.
Huh?
Who's they?
Yeah,
People.
No, they don't. Stop.
Well, the farther I can go with that.
tell them to come here.
They did, actually, and the car show is what brought them. And I was surprised at how impressed that they were that they came down and not only the selection of cars, but the businesses that were open and the selections of foods and drinks and entertainment. So even Reading's looking at us, so at least maybe once in a while.
Great.
So it's, I know that we have our ups and downs in this town, but it's turning around slowly but surely, and functions like Red Horse and Jamie's Low Show, those kind of attractions are only the fireworks of what we can do. And it would be nice to see that all year round if we could. Granted, weather doesn't help, but who knows? It would be just nice to see it expand even farther.
Counselor Proskal.
Well, my wife belongs to the Kiwanis Club, and they celebrated their 100th anniversary here in Pottstown. And they actually did started with a little sprucing up of Memorial Park, and which they do probably a couple times a month. And then we had the party over to the carousel. And I think I rode the carousel with my boys probably 14 times in a row, and my head was still spinning when I went to bed. But of course, the Low Show was fantastic. They love that. They come and ask me, where are all these people here for? I said, well, the cars, obviously, kids. And I think my 5-year-old pointed out, where the air filter is in probably at least 50 cars. So, yeah, it was wunderbar, yeah? It was really,
Wonderful. Counselor Batley.
So the car show obviously was amazing, like everybody said, but I did not spend a lot of time there. I took the opportunity to get myself on the trail down at Riverfront Park, and I kayaked for 2 days, and it was amazing. And I think everybody should do it. And I will say I did see a tire and a shopping cart, and we should probably get that removed. But other than that, it was beautiful. There was nice people out there. I'm pretty sure not all the cars belong to people at the park. I think they were from the car show. And cars were everywhere, and that was okay. They were in my development, they were in front of everybody's houses. It didn't matter. We knew those cars didn't belong there, but we were okay with it. Because they were super nice cars, too. So I know they're done for the season, but if you have an opportunity, look up Take It Outdoors and go on a 1 to 2 or 3 to 4 hour kayak ride, canoe ride. It's amazing, and it's a gem that we have that here. And like everybody else has said, we we have problems. Nobody has their head in the sand or denies anything that's happening here. I think most of us try to work together and work on solutions for really difficult problems. But we have a lot of good things and a lot of good people here that do a lot of good work. So go down to the river. And I am really excited for Fet. I love seeing everybody in their white. Thank you, Paige, for putting that together. I know it's not an easy job to put that together, and it takes a lot of work and time, and it's beautiful, and I love to hear that there's people from out of town coming. It's just another way we can spotlight Pottstown with the Low Show and things like that. I'm proud to live here, so that's all I have.
Very good. Counselor Lindsay.
So when you were kayaking, did you see the picnic table?
Oh, I saw two of them. I
Yeah.
want to know how they got in there. Somebody said maybe it was flooding that had happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, that just doesn't
Yeah, I was like, why is that?
seem right.
Okay.
But
But
I
then,
also think we should do a cleanup for the river, because I like to spend time.
okay, all right now, one clean at a time, one clean at a time. Okay, so, I just want to say, shout out to Rasul for getting those kids out there to clean up, because I think that's very important. You start down here. You get them, I want to say, as soon as they start walking, before potty training, get them out there and start having them pick up trash. I like that. I like how he got them kids involved. I love that. So let me tell you, so Sunday morning, I had to be to work at 7, so I get kind of early because you never know what happened on 422. And we go down Hanover, and Hanover was blocked. I said, what, they doing the roads? Wait a minute, they did the roads already. Why is the police out here at 5:30 in the morning? So I had to do a detour, we going down, and then come home. Somebody said, are you at the car show? I said, that's why it was blocked. I had a Phoenixville flashback because I used to live on Washington and Gay Street on Phoenixville. So I know what you're talking about. But Pottstown, y'all don't like to be considered like part of Phoenixville, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm telling you now because I live in Phoenixville. Actually, I've been in Pennsylvania for 20 years. In August, it was 20 years. I moved from D.C. area and then I moved to Phoenixville. But I'm telling you, if you don't buy property now, you just I don't know what to tell you. Go to Reading, it's going to be, you're going to have to go down the next block over. So anyway, back to my little story. So we came home, I come home, and then the cars was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. It was amazing. I mean, listen, going down Hanover, you could hear he had a stage. He had a big old, if you didn't go, it was a stage. I said, and I've been telling Sept folks, because they be complaining about the 93. That's a whole nother story. That's the bus number. So anyway, they always tell me some Pottstown. Look, let me tell you, when they talk about Pottstown, I said, hold on, don't talk about Pottstown, because when I pop these earrings, it's on and pop. But they know, but they hush their mouth, because see, I do the same thing with D.C., because I'm Washingtonian. Washingtonians you don't play with D.C. That's how I am about Pottstown. Don't talk about my town. Even if you're born and raised here, don't do it. So anyway, so I get here, I show some Sept folks about the car show, and they like, what? This is in Pottstown? I've been trying to tell y'all. I don't know why y'all act like Pottstown is all this with the crime and stuff. Come on. They want to be little Philly, but they really not. This is a suburb. Anytime you got a mailbox at the end of your yard, you're a suburb. If you go to Philadelphia and you go and you got a mailbox and it's chained up and the dog is going, you're in the city. That's the city. It's a difference. Okay, just so you know, it's a difference. But that's the end of my stuff. I'm done. Go ahead.
Well, do we have a 3-minute limit?
I agree.
I think y'all might need to do that.
The barking sounds.
Councilman Kirk,
That's how they is, Philly. They got dogs.
what do you have for us, Joe? Nothing? Go ahead, Andrew.
Two things. One of the things I've noticed here, there was unanimity, is that everybody thought the car show was super cool. Everybody thought the car show was super great. Okay. It is. It's awesome. Okay. These gentlemen at Red Horse put off these car shows 5 times a year. They charge no admission fee. No one in Red Horse makes money. They do these because they love Pottstown, because the town, because the guys there and the girls love Pottstown. And it's a cool thing. What happened is that since they do this for nothing and they charge no one anything, they were quite surprised when the permit fees quadrupled in cost, to a point where it's now starting to hurt. And they would not think about perhaps holding these wonderful car shows because of the quadrupling of the permit fees. I think if we want to have these car shows, we might want to think about or go for things where people don't charge anything for anything. It's just open to everybody, that we make it as inviting and easy for them and not a burden for people who are doing a nice thing for the town. That's the first thing. Second thing was, after our meeting last month, a couple weeks later, we got a very nice email from a concerned citizen. Well-written, well-researched, talking about the proliferation of the homeless on the Schuylkill River Trail. Schuylkill River Trail is a gem. It's a countywide gem. Spans counties. People want to come. What is happening is that the Pottstown part of the trail is becoming known as the crappy part of the trail. People don't want to come there. I've talked to people, they said, no, we're going to go to Green Lane and hang out because we don't want to bring our kids down there. Now, I checked it out and I drove out there, and sure enough, right on the little tree line part between the street and the actual trail, there was a person just sleeping there. Gotta do something. We gotta do something, okay? I know I'm a meanie, okay? I know. We gotta do something. And I have had some great conversations with the chief, okay? And the chief has indicated to me that there are plans in the works. So I prayed tonight. I said, please, God, let me hear something that would give these people hope from the report. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. It will not be okay if at the meeting next month, there's not some sort of conversation about what we're going to do with this problem that has the potential to kill this town. Business owners come up to me and they say, Andrew, should I stay here? Because they got to move their cash registers. They have to clean up feces. Should I stay here? Yeah, if we do something about this problem, we should. You should. But hopefully, next month, we'll hear something. There'll be something that we can report to all you people, that we're actually hear you, and we actually are going to do something to not make Pottstown the part of the trail that you avoid.
Stephanie?
So I mentioned Ron Reichel, and then I totally breezed over why he was so awesome this month. So if you haven't, I just want to bring him up because Gus, bless Gus, finally did a documentary of Ron Reichel, which is now on PCTV and YouTube. I guess you would call it a documentary. Ron Reichel is a wealth of information, and I am so grateful that now his entire presentation, his garden and everything is able to be shared with the entire world. He's had some health problems, and he's so passionate about his pollinator garden and educating everyone and kids and going on tours around and teaching them about flowers. We released monarch butterflies, we tagged them. Very, very cool experience. Not like you would get this anywhere else. I don't know anywhere else I've lived where I could go down the street and tag monarch butterflies to Mexico and record them. And so please, if you haven't checked out his video, please go to PCTV or YouTube. And I also want to thank Luke and Laura Johnson for an awesome block party. It was very well attended. It was nice to see new faces. So nice to see the officers down there. And I'm like extremely impressed that the girls put that together themselves. So thank you for a wonderful summer, and I appreciate you.
I have nothing more to add. We just had a wonderful summer here in town, hoping to do even better next year. Don't forget, no rain on Sunday or Friday. No rain on Friday. Meeting adjourned.